Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Comfort and Courage with Father Jim Para. And oh, what a beautiful day in northern Michigan it has been. It feels like we might finally be seeing summer, even if we perhaps skipped spring altogether. We'll find out. This evening, besides doing our evening prayer, I will be sharing a poem from Maya Angelou. And I'll be honest, I'm kind of liberally sprinkling this particular poem around this evening or this week. Maya Angelou passed away the day before the Feast of the Ascension in 2014. And I think I must have learned it the following day because I always associate her passing with the Feast of the Ascension. And so, hi Candace. And so we'll be sharing one of her poems. And it's the same poem that came out in this week's Grace newsletter. And I will be beginning this week's sermon with just a little small part of it. And I'll be closing it, in fact, with another Maya Angelou poem that I did probably the first or second week that we started gathering here. So I'm going to put into the comments right now, just so that you have it, a YouTube video of that has Maya Angelou's own voice saying the poem. If you're watching this on a rewatch and we get to that point, I certainly wouldn't blame you for jumping right over to that. It's wonderfully produced and it's very evocative. But I'll also be reading it here. I can't stream the YouTube for copyright reasons. So let's light a candle. At some point, I got to get the camera angle right so you can see the candle after I've lit it. And because we started over, moving forward a week, we are on the first day, or the second day of the second week in J. Philip Newell's Celtic Treasure Prayer Book. And this week is called Journey and Promise. So let's go ahead and take 3 deep breaths, and then we will begin our prayer. We light a light in the name of the God who creates life, in the name of the Savior who loves life, in the name of the Spirit who is the fire of life. Let us be still and aware of God's presence within us and all around us. Eve, the mother of all the living, gave birth to a child. There were tears of joy and pain at the birth, and her children also had children, and they too knew sorrow and delight. After many generations, there was Abraham and Sarah who were childless, but in a dream God came to Abraham and said, "Do not be afraid. Look to heaven and count the stars. So shall your family be, and in you all the people of the earth shall be blessed." Abraham believed God, and yet for many years nothing happened. Finally, when he was an old man sitting alone by his tent, 3 messengers of God appeared to him. Abraham invited them to rest under the shade of his tree. He washed their feet and gave them bread to eat and milk to drink. "Where is Sarah, your wife?" asked one of the visitors. "She is in the tent," replied Abraham. "Why do you ask?" "Because when I return to you next season," said the messenger, "Sarah shall have a son." Now, Sarah had been listening at the entrance to the tent, and she laughed to herself, "At such an age shall I bear a child?" And the messenger said, "Why does Sarah laugh? Is anything too wonderful for God?" Sarah did conceive, and the next season she gave birth to a son, and they called him Isaac, which means laughter. God has brought laughter for me, said Sarah. Everyone who hears will laugh with me. And the child grew and became strong, and through him a nation was born. So if you haven't heard it elsewhere, today is the Feast of the Ascension, which we will be celebrating on Sunday using the propers for the day, just because I think it's an important feast. And this thing happens to me during the Feast of the Ascension, is that I am reminded of Maya Angelou, as I said, because she passed away the day before the Feast of the Ascension in 2014, I believe. But also because she was said to be someone who lived in heaven even as she lived here. That she understood that heaven and earth are interrelated and that we are able to experience the goodness of God and the kingdom here and now. And with that, I'm going to read all of Still I Rise, a poem by Maya Angelou. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries. Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still like air I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean leaping and wide. Welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise into a daybreak that's wondrously clear. I rise, bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the hope and the dream of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. So the poem's pretty visceral. And on the one hand, I think it's beautiful, and I think that many of us should know poetry and words from cross-cultural boundaries. And still, I think it's, I hope that it takes on layered and nuanced meaning and a sense of transience when a, white cishet guy reads that particular poem. I know it certainly must speak to me in a different way than it spoke to her, but it is still some of the most beautiful words I've ever heard. And with that, if you would be so kind as to join me in finishing our prayer. In the silence of our hearts or in spoken words, let us give thanks for the gift of this day and pray for the life of the world. Feel free to post what's on your heart tonight in the comments, and I assure you that they will be included in my prayers, and I am almost certain in those of others. Tonight, I am praying for those helpers, as Mr. Rogers would put it, whose labors at the moment are fallowed and who are like I don't know, butterflies and cicadas, or butterflies and chrysalises, not cicadas, waiting to come out when this storm of pandemic is over, and eagerly waiting to make the world beautiful and heavenly with their good works. And I'm also praying for those in our armed forces, those deployed, and those at home, those who have to work and in close quarters and do so with concerns for them and their families. Absolutely. Pray for the Midland area of our own state of Michigan that is experiencing flooding, and also for the people of the subcontinental Asia that have experienced a typhoon, and like Midland are trying to handle both water and flooding and all of those crises while at the same time contending with this terrible pandemic. Hope and fear, laughter and tears have been part of our journey. Joy and pain, longing and doubt meet on the pathway. Often we do not believe, O God, and sometimes we doubt that your promises can be true. Grant us and our world the freedom to laugh, the courage to cry, the heart to be open to the faith to believe. The blessings of heaven, the blessings of earth, the blessings of sea and sky on those we love this day and on every human family. The gifts of heaven, the gifts of earth, and the gifts of sea and of sky. Hi, Donna. I hear your prayer. Absolutely. May we all both be hospitable and be treated with hospitality by guests and visitors and those who live here for part of the year, and who I can't wait to meet as they arrive to our community in one way or another. And may we all have the heart to take care of each other and consider each other's fears and best intentions. All right, everyone. Until we see you either on Saturday night or Sunday morning, take care and be blessed. And may the peace of the Lord be always with you.